We shall now explain the equilibrium of a perfectly competitive firm using marginal revenue and marginal cost method. Here we shall employ algebra to derive the conditions for profit maximization using marginal revenue and marginal cost method. We define profit as the revenue over cost. Now, the necessary condition, which is also known as the first order condition for profit maximization, is first derivative of profit equals 0. Being the difference between revenue and cost, profit is a function of quantity. That's why we are differentiating profit with respect to quantity, which can be written as the derivative of the gap between total revenue and total cost equals 0. It implies differentiation of total revenue with respect to Q minus differentiation of total cost with respect to Q equals 0. Again, we know differentiating total function we can arrive at the marginal function. Thus, differentiating total revenue with respect to Q we can have marginal revenue. Similarly, differentiation of total cost with respect to Q yields marginal cost. Thus, marginal revenue minus marginal cost equals 0, which can more formally be presented as marginal revenue equals marginal cost. It is the necessary condition for profit maximization under marginal revenue and marginal cost method. Let us now turn to the second order condition or sufficient condition for profit maximization. It implies the second derivative of profit function with respect to quantity is negative. That is, the second derivative of profit function with respect to quantity is less than 0. We know the derivative of profit function with respect to quantity is nothing but the derivative of the gap between total revenue and total cost with respect to quantity. It actually means we are differentiating the gap between marginal revenue and marginal cost with respect to quantity. And following the second order condition, it has to be less than 0. Geometrically, derivative of marginal revenue represents slope of marginal revenue curve. Similarly, derivative of marginal cost is the slope of marginal cost curve. Therefore, we can write slope of marginal revenue minus slope of marginal cost is less than 0. That is, slope of marginal revenue is less than slope of marginal cost, which is the second order condition or sufficient condition for profit maximization. Technically, it means that as output rises, marginal cost curve cuts marginal revenue curve from below. They who are not familiar with this algebraic treatment need not to be scared. Just keep in mind that there are two conditions to maximize profit using marginal revenue and marginal cost method. The necessary condition is the equality between marginal revenue and marginal cost. And the sufficient condition is that with the rise in output, marginal cost curve cuts marginal revenue curve from below. Let us now turn to the graph. As we have learned, the necessary condition for profit maximization using marginal revenue and marginal cost method is marginal revenue needs to be equal to marginal cost. And according to the sufficient condition, with the rise in output, marginal cost curve cuts marginal revenue curve from below. In figure, we are showing two panels. The upper panel represents profit maximization using total revenue and total cost method. Using total revenue and total cost method, profit is maximum at Q to output level, where the gap between total revenue and total cost is maximum and total revenue is greater than total cost. We explained it in our previous video more detail. In the lower panel of the figure, we are showing the marginal revenue and marginal cost method to explain firm's equilibrium operating in a perfectly competitive market. In a perfectly competitive market, firms are price taker due to the assumption of infinite number of buyers and sellers and homogeneous product. The price firm takes in the short run is P. And as we have learned, firm's demand curve at price P is horizontal, that is perfectly elastic. Moreover, this horizontal demand curve plays the role of average revenue and marginal revenue curve. And the marginal cost curve is U-shaped as shown in figure. In figure, at E prime with Q1 output level, marginal revenue equals marginal cost. But with the rise in output, marginal cost curve cuts marginal revenue curve from above. So E prime is not an equilibrium point. At the corresponding output level, that is at Q1, in the upper panel of the figure, total revenue is less than total cost, which indicates loss, as we learned in our previous video in detail. Thus, at E prime, though marginal revenue equals marginal cost, but marginal cost curve cuts marginal revenue curve from above. That is, E prime satisfies the necessary condition for profit maximization, but it does not satisfy the sufficient condition. So, at E prime, firm is not in equilibrium. Q1 is not equilibrium output level. Again, at E, with Q2 output level, marginal revenue equals marginal cost. And with the rise in output level, marginal cost curve cuts marginal revenue curve from below. Hence, at E, the necessary condition, that is marginal revenue equals marginal cost, is satisfied. At the same time, the sufficient condition, that is with the rise in output level, marginal cost curve cuts marginal revenue curve from below, is also satisfied. Therefore, E is equilibrium point and Q2 is equilibrium quantity. At the same output level, that is at Q2, in the upper panel of the figure, the gap between total revenue and total cost is maximum, and total revenue is greater than total cost, which indicates profit. Since both the necessary and sufficient condition of profit maximization using marginal revenue and marginal cost method is satisfied at E, E is the equilibrium point. That is, profit will be maximum at E with Q2 output level. For an output level less than Q2, marginal cost is less than marginal revenue, which means total profit has not been maximized and it pays the firm to expand its output. For an output level greater than Q2, marginal cost is greater than marginal revenue. It means the level of total profit is being reduced and it pays the firm to cut its production. Profit will be maximum when marginal revenue equals marginal cost. But the question is that, does equilibrium guarantee excess profit for firm in the short run? Our next few videos will answer this question.